Hello everybody. Thank you for joining this webinar presented by Yellowfin, Rhino, and Incorvus. We have a bold topic today: AI without the BS. I believe it's a very relevant topic. There is a lot of discussion out there about AI, but there's also a lot of confusion of what it means, and we will not attempt to solve all of that, but at least when it comes to analytics, we'll give you some of our perspectives. So if you go to the next slide, the presenters today, my name is Atanas Popov. I am the president of Idera, which is a very large privately held software company with over 30 brands. I am just my role is just to introduce the presenters today, and we'll let them speak a lot more about the topic. But I will give you a bit of perspective initially about Idera's thinking on AI. Suzanne from Incorvus, he has a lot of experience with both BI and analytics and AI, and she's going to provide you with the broad description and thoughts about what AI means for us. And Carl is the CEO of Rhino Analytics, one of Yellowfin's most important partners in the UK and EMEA, with a lot of experience building Yellowfin analytics applications for customers. So he'll give you the context of how AI could work today with Yellowfin, and hopefully we can answer some questions at the end. If you go to the next slide, we have a very simple agenda. Again, I'll do a very brief introduction. My goal is to do it in 5 minutes. Then Suzanne is going to speak at an executive level of what AI could mean and how it relates to analytics. Carl will actually give you a view of Yellowfin and how analytics works within Yellowfin, or AI-enabled analytics works within Yellowfin. And hopefully we have a few minutes at the end for some Q&A. So if you flip to the next slide, just to give you a bit of perspective on Idera. Idera is based in the US, but a global company. We have about 30 brands that focus on software, essentially software tools for IT organizations, and these range from developer tools for developers, database management tools, testing tools, you name it. We have brands in a lot of these spaces. As a holding company, we always try to think how we can make our brands better and our products better. So one of the strategic goals for Idera over the last year has been to infuse AI across our products. And Yellowfin BI is our analytics brand, and we feel one of the best tools out there for embedded analytics. And it also happens we have a lot of AI capabilities, which you'll see later in the presentation. And we use Yellowfin as a key way to infuse AI throughout the company, both for internal enterprise use cases. All of our Idera's data warehouse products work with Yellowfin. All the visualization and insights come from that. But we are also building a lot of embedded products for our go-to-market brands. And I'll give you some examples of those. But Yellowfin's role is really to reinvent how products do reporting and analytics. And now that it has so many cool AI features, it kind of comes with a bonus AI straight into our products. So if you go to the next slide, that will give you a quick example of how we think about analytics and embedded analytics and what AI does. But we think that what Yellowfin allows our brands to do and our products to do is become sort of leapfrog the competition. There's a lot of our products have been out there for a while. Many have different types of reporting modules and analytics modules. Some are home built, some are things like SQL Server, all kinds of technologies. Some are dashboards. We have Grafana. We have all kinds of things across the products. But what we've done over the last year is looking through all of these and figuring out that Yellowfin is a much better technology to replace what we do today in terms of reporting and make it better. And what is really nice is that AI comes as an immediate bonus, because there's a lot of AI within Yellowfin, and as a result, now we have AI in our end products that leverage Yellowfin. This is an example. We have a very successful product under the Wordscape brand that is used to build warehouses, data warehouses, very sophisticated data warehouses for Snowflake, Databricks, and that tool for a long time did not have a very good reporting module. And we basically embraced Yellowfin as our new reporting module, but it's so much more than reporting, because now out of the box, we actually get AI-enabled analytics, and not only it looks very cool, but it's also extremely powerful. So hopefully our end customers are delighted with this. So with this presentation, what we try to do is give you a perspective on AI, what AI is from a broader sense, and then kind of zoom in with Carl on what exactly it could mean for your organization if you end up Yellowfin, adopting something like Yellowfin as your BI and reporting module. So with that, I will switch over. If you go to the next slide, I'll switch over to Suzanne, who is going to give you a lot of interesting perspective what AI is, and try to reduce a little bit of the confusion with the topic. So Susanna, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Atanas. So today, I hope to clear away a lot of the hype and myth around AI, to explain, I hope to you, why AI-enabled Yellowfin BI is an absolute no-brainer for the C-suite, particularly in terms of the analytics and insights that Atanas mentioned. And it is a very considered, de-risked way to introduce AI enablement seamlessly into your business for immediate benefit. The key here is to start the process of clearing away the fluff so that we can get to business appropriate AI. So the AI spectrum, this is the problem. You know, AI is a very broad church, and in many respects, the only point of connection or community is the word AI. It's a buzz term, it's an umbrella term. It's used to describe a collection of many different technologies which have all become lumped together under this heading. And the subsequent misuse or ill definition of the term has created an even bigger problem. So I'd like to retrace the steps a little and understand how this broad spectrum has arisen and why some of the confusion. So AI has been around for a long time, since the 1950s, when Alan Turing first created a test to assess whether a computer could be intelligent. And a few years after that, the term artificial intelligence, AI, was actually coined. That is part of the problem, if you like, because AI has become a shorthand for artificial intelligence, but depending on whose opinion you look at, you'll see that people often have very differing interpretations of what that should be. So throughout the 1950s, you begin to see the rise of machine learning, ML, and that was pioneered using simple algorithms. By the 1960s, they started looking at neural networks and natural language, which you will also find in Yellowfin, as the route to Bayesian probabilistic capability. And what that horrible term means is that simply an inferred probability can be updated once fresh information becomes available. And again, that's one of the techniques you will see in Yellowfin. When it's got your data, once it's got new data, you'll get new output from it. So in the 1990s, which is to the right of that page, you'll see that things started getting serious with the first use of AI during the Gulf War and also the first commercial application of AI. And in between the 1960s and the 1990s, what you have is this continuing development of machine learning. The algorithms begin to be grouped together. You start seeing chatbots and computer speech, and also the use of rules to focus in on data insights. So AI had quickly gone from, in the 1950s, something that basically was an algorithm that would answer a mathematical problem, to even a prototype autonomous vehicle. That already is quite a broad increase. From the 1990s onwards, there began to be a dawning realization that AI could be a game changer. The growth of data volumes on computers also meant there was a need for technology that could help crunch the numbers. Why not? Save time and effort. They wanted to analyze big data and draw speedy conclusions to learn from the results. So this was also the heyday of business intelligence, and you could make an argument that there's a great deal of similarity between BI and AI at this point. However, BI is different, and then in that it learns from training data and it continues to learn. BI doesn't have that feature. Scientists then turned their attention to not just mimicking human capabilities, but interpreting them. So if you look at Microsoft Connect in 2010, it starts the process of allowing people to interact with the computer by the interpretation of their movements and gestures. So this capability of not only trying to mimic how human beings think, but also understand our physical and verbal signals, that introduced incredible complexity into the mix, and also more data. So the 2000s really sort of focus on trying to get to grips with that data to understand pattern analysis and recognition. That was chiefly a feature of machine learning, and basically what they wanted to do was point algorithms at a pile of data, whether it was labeled or not, and see what intelligence, in converted commas, it would come up with. So from 2010 onwards, you see the beginnings of the commercial application of AI based on machine learning and new multimodal abilities, which cause large increases in the valuations of companies linked to AI. Multimodal AI systems train with and use video, audio, speech, images, text, and a range of traditional numerical data sets. Most importantly, multimodal AI means numerous data types are used in tandem to help AI establish context and better interpret it, something missing in earlier versions of AI. And that is synchronous with the development of the Transformer document, where the researchers and scientists that used to work at Google were keen on making the search engine more sophisticated. So context began to become increasingly important during this period, and the reason for that is evident once you start looking at generative AI. Having decided that the deep neural network, a way of emulating the way our brains actually think about knowledge and intelligence, was important, you actually need then to include context to refer back to other things that may have been said that inflect the meaning of the topic that you're currently looking at or searching for. It's a kind of retrogressive learning. So in the era of generative AI, 2020s, the AI has now understood human speech, actions, movements, knowledge, even emotional signals, to the extent that it's able to now be a creator. So generative AI, the essential feature of that is that it creates not just text, not just essays, but also images, sound, and other things as well. So just to simplify, first came the algorithms, the mathematical rules, which are the building blocks of AI. Then you get machine learning, where the algorithms can autonomously learn from the data, and because they can recognize and understand patterns, they can begin to make predictive inferences. Then deep learning changed the game because computers then needed less human supervision and could change and improve their algorithms themselves. They had understood, or at least they've been taught, the rules which enable them to mimic how the human brain processes information. And finally, generative AI, which has gone from being the humble mathematical algorithm to being a collection of algorithms that can self-improve and self-initiate. And as you can see, there's a whole long list of things it can do: drive cars, create or expose fake audiovisual content, robotics, virtual reality, augmented reality, and it can also check the sell-by date of the food in your fridge. Added to that, a lot of people, particularly the futurologists, are concerned that general AI will become one of those things that takes over the world and takes your job. So all I would say is all of these things are just different steps on the journey of AI evolution. The essential difference you really need to be aware of is that non-generative AI is what we call actually machine learning, because it analyzes content, it replicates how humans interrogate data, how they ask questions, how they put queries to computers. Whereas the generative AI, the AI of the future, which is now beginning to diversify, is largely about content creation. So it's mimicking human thought processes, creative thought processes, not interrogative ones. So when you look at that list of items that all come under the heading AI, you can perhaps understand why people have got confused. You only need to Google it to understand just how many confused, multiple, and misleading and conflicting definitions there are out there. The reason is very simple, because actually the term AI, when first conceived, everything has changed so much since then. So much has been added that AI now refers to a category of technologies, not just one single type of technology. So we really do have a broad church. So given that, the fact that it's an extremely fast changing, highly competitive landscape, and one with its own discrete and exotic vocabulary, with ChatGPT doubling at a rate of every 6 months, it's not surprising that business leaders struggle to understand what AI is appropriate to their business and their use case. It's a huge, the choice is too big, there's too many options, and worst of all, where to start for the best. So let's have a quick look at the landscape. You're probably all familiar with the main players. What I would say is note that the vendors suit different AI needs. So Amazon has 3 different types of AI bots, and that the vendors also, to some extent, are somewhat incestuous. Microsoft uses ChatGPT, which is powered by OpenAI, but OpenAI GPT-4 powers Microsoft ChatGPT. And the other players like Stability, for instance, specialize in multimodal AI, in using AI to generate or understand audiovisual content. So the use case. it's very definite that you need to choose your AI according to what your use case is. So, for instance, some firms may have an emphasis on real time. You want insights in real time, not just 5 seconds later than everybody else. That is the case in financial markets, for instance. And here we have some data about Bitcoin, where both Grok and ChatGPT were asked at the same time to produce an analysis insight about Bitcoin. Grok got the answer right, ChatGPT didn't. And I have since found out that one of the reasons for that may be that training data was not as current as Grok's. Google, one of the AI leaders, and yet it still made a mistake recently with its Gemini product. However, it is a great exemplar of how AI can be incredibly powerful. And this is actual research on their impact on elections. Now, I'm not saying any of you want to do that, but it is about being very clear about your use case. And one of the things not to do is use AI as a digital shrink. If you confront it with a theoretical dilemma, then you must have in your head some understanding of what the common sense answer to the question is when you do the training. Otherwise, you're going to end up with things that really don't pass the common sense test. And if AI is anything, it's a rules engine. It's based on mathematical logic and rules. It's supposed to tell you an empirical truth. So let's look at the business case. That's the other important aspect of this. If you're a business owner or a business leader, the failure rates for AI projects are worse than almost anything else I can think of in the IT market. Gartner originally stated that failure rates were running at 85%. That's double the failure rate for normal software projects. And they now predict that half of the AI deployments in the finance sector will be potentially shut down or put into mothballs by this year. Reasons for that: because AI is not producing a return on value for the businesses, and because the time to value for AI can be in years. There are projects going on in the US in some very high-flying circles where the budgets have been in the millions. They've had top consultants in there from top consultancies, top dollar, and those projects, whilst they're progressing, they're still not live. They've been going for 4 years. So beware. Okay, Google Gemini I alluded to a few minutes ago. The big boys as well, yes, they can make a lot of money out of this and a lot of value down the track, as the futurologists point out, but they can also equally well make big losses. And the Google Gemini debacle had cost them $90 billion. They got it back, but it was a bit embarrassing at the time. On the plus side, certainly last year, during the height of the hype cycle for AI, companies that merely mentioned AI saw their stock prices rise by 71%. And that was 50% more than those who didn't. So Q3 last year, AI mentions were at an all-time high, and that is probably the peak of the hype cycle. You can look at the Gartner hype cycle for the detail there, but that's probably where it is right now. And so the question then is, well, what's going to happen with AI in the current year? The answer to that is that I believe you will see, if you haven't already seen, changes to the hardware that underlies AI or that facilitates AI, because AI consumes an awful lot of power. just as an example, training an AI model the size of GPT-4 would currently consume enough power, according to NVIDIA, to power about 30,000 typical British homes. So reducing the power cost and the power footprint of AI computing is very important to taking it forward. And I believe NVIDIA and probably also Musk are working on such things. In fact, the NVIDIA superchip, pardon me, is out, and their stock price is going very nicely too. So what do we need to consider as business people, business leaders who want to get into business appropriate AI? Let's look again at time to value. So from a business point of view, you're concerned about the lapse time, the CapEx, the data quality, the training and resources that you need for AI. As discussed, the projects can easily take 4 years and there's going to be humongous amounts of code. The project doesn't come cheap because it ties up CapEx. Even if the budget is okay, that's still money that's not active in the business, it's sitting there. The companies that want to get into AI, typically 80% of them haven't taken the preparatory steps to get their data right. So their foundations are icky, to say the least. Plus you've got the demand for resources as well, which are costly. And don't forget, AI takes time because it needs time to do its training runs. AI learns comparatively and iteratively from historic data. So time to value being quite so lengthy, at least probably a minimum of 2 years, maybe you might do it less, but about two. That AI investment only really works for companies which can afford to tie up their CapEx for that period of time. And so we get to a simpler chart. So here is the evolution of AI from algorithms to generative AI. And as you will see, as you progress along that route to generative AI, the costs go up. And as the costs go up, the value over time starts to drop as well. And therefore, from a business point of view, it pays to take small steps to be sure of your use case, business case, and the time to value, rather than getting in a big way and making an expensive, embarrassing failure. Where Yellowfin sits in this spectrum is between really the stage where the algorithms, the calculations are going on, and the early stages of machine learning, the natural language processing, and Carl will be explaining something about the natural language queries that you can do in Yellowfin. So if you look at that picture there, you can see that the outlay versus value over time is good value at the early stage of development, because you're clear on your use case, you've got a business case that's clear defined, and you're not overexposed either on the investiture or on the time to value. And making the most of your AI investment, key to that is getting additional value from what you already have. So getting additional value from your people, your processes and systems. Use the power of AI to automate, accelerate, and augment what you can already do, so that you're beginning to shift the grunt work and the time-consuming routine labor onto the computer that works for you. You're using it as an intelligent tool, and by the same token, you're actually upskilling your staff, your resources, and making your business more valuable. So here we are. This is why AI-enabled Yellowfin is an absolute no-brainer from my perspective. First of all, Yellowfin holds your data. You know that is valid, trusted data. You can see that. You can check from the charts and analysis that data is good. So the AI enablement in Yellowfin does not learn your mistakes. It is also part of a natural progression from BI that adds value to your data. Because Yellowfin actually has that enablement already in the product, it can immediately and automatically put your data to work in your business processes. It's already connected to your workflow. You can share your business processes and your insights with other people. So you're enriching your company. Yellowfin BI also has this accelerated analytics capability beyond what you, as a human being that needs to sleep, can do. So while you sleep, the intelligent functions of Yellowfin are going on in the background, and the things that you might find rather laborious can be done for you by the software. At the same time, Yellowfin also learns what's of interest to you, so it uses your natural language and can augment that. It augments your thought process and capability by actually developing what that offer is. So, for instance, AI-enabled insights are directly available to you based on the natural language queries that you can put in to say, show me the sales growth for this sector in this period. You don't need to go and look up application terminology or metadata that says, go and look at customer table ABZ123. That is what you can get if you don't have natural language. So the benefit of AI-enabled Yellowfin is a no-brainer in my view, because you benefit immediately. The investment is commensurate with the business case and the use case. Your natural language, your data is already there and plumbed into the business. It's already trained on your data and your way of thinking. It knows your vocabulary, and it's a very considered, de-risked way to get small steps into AI enablement to get the benefit immediately into your business. The key problem with those bigger projects is, yes, they can do some really wonderful things, and no doubt they will be existential changes and disruption in due course, but you've got to wait a long time for those things to happen. So your money's locked up for many years, and also so are the outcomes. Many of those 85% failure rates that I mentioned have not produced the results for the business. So this is why AI-enabled Yellowfin BI is a no-brainer. So if anyone would like further information or further training on AI and what's involved, we offer at Incorvus a discrete briefing for the C-suite and above, because one of the things that you will see, even Sage, for instance, the bastion of accounting software, now regards AI as a board-level competency. So if you are a director, a board member, or perhaps even a shareholder, the necessity to understand something about AI that is not entirely dependent on technological vocabulary is really crucial now. It's not a coincidence that the companies at the head of the Dow, Apple, Amazon, and so forth, Microsoft, they all have either digital gurus or people at the top of the company who understand technology in a very intimate way. So similarly, we offer an AI primer very discreetly to companies or individuals who would like to follow up with us afterwards, and that there is our email address. So if you've got any questions, we can take those afterwards. I'm now happy to hand over to Carl to show you what's involved.
Thank you, Suzanne, and thank you, Atanas, for the intro at the beginning. As Atanas stated earlier on, my name's Carl Edwards. I'm the CEO of Rhino Analytics, and we have the great pleasure of working with Yellowfin and actually producing a lot of content and a lot of information and presenting it in great ways within the Yellowfin product. As Suzanne and Atanas mentioned earlier on, there are a number of things that are inside the product that are already utilizing AI to a certain extent. We have an automated insight discovery module that's built into it that allows you to highlight data and get some kind of explanation or discovery around that data. The smart explanations side of the product as well will you pick the data that you want an explanation on and ask it to explain to you what's happening, why there could be a spike in that data, why if you compare it with a previous year, for example, how do you get the differences between the two numbers and what happened there, where all of that information comes from. And Yellowfin does all of this for you. You're not doing anything other than effectively highlighting information and saying, talk to me. And the product will do that. And it does it by analyzing your data. It doesn't do anything clever and start sending data out of the system anywhere. It all does it internally on your system. And it makes it very, very secure in that sense. So one of the things Suzanne was mentioning was about that there's been many occasions where data is, you can't trust it. You're not really sure whether that's right or not, and something is going on out in the big wide world. With regards to Yellowfin and data processing and how it explains and provides those automated insights, it's your data, it's local, it's on your machine, it's trusted. So there's no issues there. Yellowfin also has a natural language query built into it, as Suzanne mentioned. It allows you to ask it a question. We're seeing it on screen at the moment where we are literally asking an English language question to the system, and it will come back with a chart and a report for you. The way you ask the question is really interesting, and we spent quite a bit of time over the years getting this right. We can't trust people to ask the same question every single time, and that's not a failure of people, that's a failure of the system understanding the question being asked. So natural language query within Yellowfin is a guided system. You effectively say things like list my brands, etc., by something, and the something will give you a drop-down list, as we can see on screen. That metric termination is coming down and getting a list there, so we can pick exactly what it is. The next part of the system is really an AI system, and this is really new. So if you're following Yellowfin or you're using the Yellowfin product already, you won't have seen this bit yet. It's still under development, and we're still working on this. But we've discovered a way that we can actually use the power and leverage the power of the AI tools that are out there, specifically in this instance, ChatGPT's powerful engine, to actually provide an assistant in how to do things within Yellowfin. And we can talk about that a little bit more in a little moment. So the whole part of the assisted insights, it allows you to click and uncover patterns and trends and correlations, etc. It's a system that's effectively built within Yellowfin signals. It is, and it will troll through your data, spotting interesting items of information that you may not be aware of, and highlight that information to you. The machine learning side of that allows you to say, look, this piece of information is interesting to me, and the system will tweak itself to your usage so that those interesting pieces of information will continuously be available to you. It doesn't discount other pieces of information, all of that's still there, but it kind of brings to the forefront what it is you're interested in. So you say, I am interested in this and I want to watch this kind of activity in my data. The system is going to keep that first and foremost for you as a user when you log in and look at it. The interface is very, very user-friendly. It's all click, it's all mouse-driven. There's no need for you to be typing in and using a keyboard on this unless you're actually entering specific parameters you want things to work on. It can handle very, very large amounts of data. It's not stuck in the world of you loading information into it. It's looking at your data sources wherever they may be, and that's a key thing with Yellowfin. It doesn't pull data from your data sources and process it. It processes where your data resides. So the actual number crunching takes place on the number crunching machine, the database end. visual representation, the interpretation of that information is done at the Yellowfin server. So you've got no concerns about data moving around all over the place. Excuse me. Within the system itself, baked into it, collaboration and sharing, it's a cornerstone of Yellowfin. It's been there since day one. You can always collaborate and share that information with all of your colleagues, your peers, your customers if you wish to, with broadcasting techniques. All of this stuff is built into the product so you can get that information out to people. The NLP capabilities, it removes the need for complex coding, and it's a really key thing. What we've found over the years is that there tend to be two real users of Yellowfin. There's the people who want to consume and get the information. They need action. They want to know what's happening within their organization, their business, or their customers. They want to see that information. And then there's people who really want to analyze that information. The two are different in their use cases, and the product handles that very, very well indeed, allowing consumers to be able to look at the products and interact with all of the data, power those automated insights, see what's happening with all the products and all of the data, etc., and the analysts to be able to get into that. And the automated insight side of Yellowfin gives you that ability. It allows you to click the button and see what's happening, and then it allows other users to, same thing, see what's happening, but click another button and drill down into that information and use that in their own reports, as we're seeing on screen. The natural language query. The natural language query is ever so much like that. It helps you guide through your question you're asking. And this is targeted really at people who don't want to spend their life building reports and charts and dashboards. They've got a question they want to ask of the data, have the system work out the answers for you, come back with a visual representation. It's very quick, it's very powerful, it's very, very easy to use. You are literally asking the system a question of your data. The results of that can be as complex and rich as you want, or as simple as you want. You can pick that information up and embed it wherever you want to embed it. The system provides for that. Add all of your filters, etc. Even have it filtered to the point where a particular user could log in, they see one suite of information, another user logs in, different information. All of that can be done quite easily within the system. Safeguards, security around the data, all of that is all baked into the system already for you. You don't have to worry about that at all. Now the Yellowfin assistant, the AI assistant, as I said, this is all shiny and new. We're working on this at the moment, and we're loading up more and more information into this as we go along. The concept behind this was to take the natural language query side of things, but to have it more powered towards how we do things within Yellowfin. And to that extent, we've actually got a separate model built within ChatGPT that is focused purely on Yellowfin BI, how to do things within Yellowfin BI and what we can do with it. I'm just going to expand that up a little bit so we can see what's going on with this. So we simply asked it a question of how can I go about and use Yellowfin, and it's told us, and we've gone, well, actually tell us more, and off it goes. And the system itself, which is its own model within ChatGPT with its own information loaded into it, and we're loading more and more content into this all the time, is giving us a how to use Yellowfin in the way that we want to use it. Now, I appreciate that this isn't for the consumer, this isn't for the C-suite, this will definitely be for the analyst, but on the grounds that the C-suite and the consumers are wanting to see information that analysts are going to build for them, it makes sense to have it in a way such that the analyst can sit there and go, I need to build a chart, I need to build something, I don't know, I need to build a Gantt chart, for example, and I need to build that Gantt chart in Yellowfin, I want to put it on the dashboard, I want to see how this works, how do I go about doing it, and I want to use a particular powerful charting library like Fusion Charts to do it. Now that's the kind of question that an analyst or a coder, a developer would ask themselves before they go ahead and try and work out a way of doing it. Having built up the particular model here, we can start presenting that information back. We can actually give you a step-by-step guide on how you go about building a Gantt chart within Yellowfin BI using your data, and it provides all the information that that developer would require or that analyst would require. Fusion charts is a little bit codey, so there's all the code, but it's the way of doing it. As I said, we're just going to be adding more and more of this content to the system as we go along. So that's going to just get bigger and bigger as we move along and add more and more content into there. We're actually estimating we'll be able to get as much information in there before the end of this year. You'll actually be able to just ask very simple questions as well as really complex ones. So if you hop onto this and say, how do I build a report? It'll tell you how you build a report. You want to know exactly how you put a Gantt chart together and then place it into a dashboard, filtering it and providing that as a broadcast for a very specific set of users, you'll be able to do that as well. So that's all going to be built in there. It's all coming along as we go along. So I've been conscious of time. I know we've run over a little bit, so let's hop onto this. Any Q&A that anybody's got. I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy schedules to come and look at this presentation. Thanks to Suzanne for talking us through the whole world of AI. I hope you've got something from what we've just seen as well. I know that was a whistle-stop tour, but by all means, if you want to see more of that and how that works, you want to see how this could actually fit into your organization and you want to use this, then please be in touch with us and we'll be happy to sort of walk you through that and actually show some proper real world examples of it and actually help you put that together. That isn't an issue for us whatsoever. So unless there are any questions, I'll hand back to Suzanne or Atanas, I think. Let me just do a little wrap up, but here, ready to answer anything that may come through.
All right.
So, over to you, Atanas.
Thank you, Carl. There is a panel there for you guys to enter some questions, if you have any. Yeah, appreciate it. Some thank you notes passing around, which is important. Thank you so much, guys, for attending. It's an interesting topic. Always a lot of people are engaged, and I think the presenter did a really, really nice job. So thank you, Carl and Susanna.
Thank you, Atanas.
There's another question. Just 1 second. It's too small.
I can answer that question. So, Andy, so is the AI-enabled Yellowfin an additional module if we have Yellowfin already? No, it's not. Everything's baked into Yellowfin. It depends what version you're using, of course. If we're upgraded onto the latest version, everything will be available to you. If you're a little bit behind on version numbers, simple upgrade will bring that into place. But there's no additional modules to be added in there except the signals product itself, which does an awful lot of trolling of data. That is a separate thing, but it's not just a separate module. It's advised to be a separate install. If you think about what that thing can do, it's an awful lot of data analysis going on. The automated insights, the natural language query, the comparisons, the profiling of data, even the AI assistant when it's finished, all of that will just be part of the product. The other bits are already in there, so there's nothing else to add.
I mean, one important point for Yellowfin is like it's. I mean, there are two. The way we think about it, it's like a lot of our customers still love Yellowfin for the basic, like very beautiful reporting, just the basic analytics. So Yellowfin has a lot of features even beyond AI that are not widely utilized. So that's just. I mean, there's a lot in the product, so you have to learn it. And once you start enabling them, you may be surprised how many different things there are in the product, even beyond AI. So there's a lot of stuff there. I mean, one question I see is also just like what does it mean for in terms of privacy? I think that's a big question around AI. It's like if I start typing some stuff and start getting answers, does that in any way compromise IP? It's a very complicated questions with nuanced answers, but generally speaking, we try to simplify how we use AI, so that if you use it, the probability that there's any impact on IP, your IP, is minimal. So a lot of the current use cases are around assistance and support and other things that truly have no impact to your IP. So just something to be looking at.
Yeah, I'd add to that, Atanas, that the IP risks are out in the wider world where either original source material has been used without permission, or where AI has created things from source material and there is a question of who actually owns the IP, the AI or the originator.
Yeah. Another very interesting question by Steve, which is when you think about AI, in my mind, it's like there's a lot of, I don't know, horizontal AI that we enable in the product, which is things that, again, help you with the product. When it comes to real insights about data and sophisticated analytics use cases that are layered on top of data, those become very dependent on the data itself. And we see a big opportunity for our customers to create their own layer of AI that is vertical specific. That has always been the mission of AI, of Yellowfin, providing the tools so you can take Yellowfin and then customize it in a way that a lot of our customers create unique products that answer unique customer demands, their customer demands. So there's a big opportunity to take Yellowfin as is and layer in your own AI that is very specific to vertical use cases, and therefore make a much more differentiated product that you can go out to market using Yellowfin. But Yellowfin is just one of the enablers, right? You layer in your own insights, your own tooling, your own dashboarding. Like we've said before, a lot of we have many customers when if you look at their application, you may not even understand that Yellowfin is part of the application. They've customized it so much. AI is one of these other things that we hope that in the future you'll be able to customize to create unique products that use Yellowfin, and we help you to differentiate with Yellowfin. But there is your layer of insight, your layer of IP that allows you to create your own individual products. There's a question, maybe Carl, you can go this. What is the advice and how you just structure a POC to figure out if this is actually accurate for a specific use case?
Yeah, it's a really good question, actually, and I had a sneaky feeling David would ask that. I know, David, happy to have a conversation around that offline, David, but in real terms, I suppose the only way to really prove that the solution is returning a correct answer is to follow all the steps and actually go through from start to finish, showing raw information through to calculated or analyzed information, which I know you guys do anyway, but there is no real way of going, this is the correct answer, because unless you can show your workings out, it's a tricky one. But yeah, happy to take that up offline and we'll talk about that a little bit more.
And I like we said, even with it's so dependent on the use case that you're trying to solve for, and it may be very accurate for a use case. You may have a use case that looks very similar and it could not be so accurate. In our mind, that's the part of Yellowfin. It is an embedded solution. So you take it and you customize it and make it fit your needs, right? It's not something that is meant to work the same way for everybody. All right, it seems like we're running a little bit out of time. Any additional questions? Or I think there was a slide with all the Carl's and Susanna's contact information. I think that will be. I mean, we'll send an email after the session so you can contact them. But feel free. They both are experts in this field. They can give you advice and ideas on how to best approach that for your particular use case. There's a lot of different opportunities. You can start small, you can start large. There are different ways to do a POC. And I think like especially Carl's group, when it comes to building Yellowfin solutions, is pretty exceptional. So you can do some pretty amazing things. And Susanna can definitely give you the strategic advice on how this can fit within your organization. And so there are a lot of opportunities. I don't see any other questions, so I think with this we can close this webinar. I appreciate everybody attending. I know everybody's very busy, so taking some time to learn more is not always easy. And I thank Carl and Susanna for a very insightful presentation again, and hopefully we'll speak again soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, folks. Take care. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.